Facebook and also YouTube, and we are open to taking your comments live on the show. We would like to know from your own input what you think about character and hobbies, and how the character of a man can be influenced by his hobbies, or how the hobbies of a man can affect or can affect his makeup, his personality, the attributes of what makes him as a man. So the discussion is open and we are engaging you in it. But first of all, Sele, what are your hobbies?
My hobbies: I love writing, I love smiling, I love crying. It's shocking, but I cry. When I'm happy, I cry. When I'm sad, I cry. So it has got like a hobby to me.
That's a hobby.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's an interest or it's a hobby, but I call it my hobby.
I would say that's a character.
Okay. To be crying.
To cry. Then what will you say? How can you describe your character?
How can I describe it? Since my character is my my representation, my makeup, then I think my character is okay, I'm trying to see whether it's my hobby or it's my character. Okay. Character is my traits, right? Okay, so my character is helping. It's my makeup. Being cheerful, because I know it drops up on other people too. And then being straightforward, among many others. Side of you.
So that is telling us ETC or the show. We agree. Well, hobbies are very clear reflections of the kind of people we are. That means your hobby, what you spend time doing during your pleasure, can tell a lot about who you are. And people are so deliberate in selecting what their hobbies are based on their character. Like, they are not random about it. That's people that really know who they are. They are not random about it. But in going further with the discussion, I want us to take it step by step by defining what character is, hobbies, and even in relation with the two, like influencing one another. And I will start. Character is the mental and moral qualities distinctive to an individual. A person's makeup, personality, temperament, attributes. The character of a man the character of a man consists of all the qualities they have that make them distinct from other people or places. Now, you said your character is being straightforward. You see, that will put you at the edge, or that will separate you, with someone that is not straightforward. And you can be, when I'm describing you, I say, Sele is a straightforward person. She is this, she is that. Those are the attributes. Those are your makeup. They are the things that make you who you are. Then for hobbies, hobby is something that you do for fun, not money. And you typically do it fairly regularly. It's more like what you spend your time doing when you are not working, or when you do what you do during your leisure. That is hobby. I don't know if you have different opinions about my definitions. Your own definition of character and hobbies.
No, I think I don't have anything different, just to add up to the definition. Especially, you already stated the fact that it's a trait, it's a representation. And I also see our character as also our desire. Because we looked at desire yesterday, and I looked at it, it's closely related. Most time what we desire is a reflection of who we are. So I see that as also being your character, because this is what people tend to define you with. And I also see, just like you already said, our hobbies are mostly what we do during our leisure time. It's mostly outside our occupation or what we do, even though sometimes people make money out of their hobbies, but it's just something that you just love doing. I just love reading. I just love writing. Whether writing will pay me or not, I just love doing it. As far as it's just something, regardless of whether it pays me or not. And even though we're still in the course of discussion before we see how the two relate. And just like you stated, like when we look at our hobbies, sometimes it somehow tells who we are, because you mentioned temperaments. It sometimes tells who you are. So you notice that someone who is mostly involved in a particular hobby will actually tell you if this person is introvert or this person is not. So somehow you tend to look at this person, okay, this person loves this. It actually tell you a lot about that person. To some extent, you begin to define that person based on what the person loves doing.
And you know, you mentioned something important, introvert, extrovert. An introvert, when you know that, or you can easily define a person by not easily associating during social gatherings, like he's always aloof, or if somebody loves the outdoor activities, the life of the gathering, he's a, you know, definitely that person is an extrovert. Even though sometimes we have in between, that you can just be in between. Yes, you love these activities, or you just like it. It's not like you definitely love it or one thing or the other. There are people that even like social clubs, like coming together to read books. You know, that's a hobby that both introvert and extrovert can do. And you know, all these hobbies have a way of influencing our characters, and I think we're always deliberate in choosing them. You know, it's not random. Like I said, it's not random. Like someone like you, I don't think you even though I think I know you to some certain extent, I know your character, I know who you are, I can easily define you. There are some things I know you can't do as a hobby. There are some things I know that, no, when you get to I know it's all about family for you. You want to be where family is, you know, gist to them, talk to your brothers, because maybe I've seen it in your character. You have the homely type of character. Then I know someone that, okay, if I'm to define the person, I know that when this person gets home, is to lock himself in the room or just stay on his own, even when they are gisting in the house. They are just looking at them like, why these people have so much gist? Like, what are they always talking about? You know, sometimes you wonder what people are always talking about. Exactly. Because of your personality, because of those character traits that you have. And no wonder most times you know, interviewers always ask, when they're interviewed, they will say, what are your hobbies? And if you wonder, what has that got to do with my personality? Well, it has a lot to do with your personality, because like I said earlier, they reflect the kind of people we are. That's our hobbies, reflect the kind of people we are. If I tell an interviewer that I love to read, that means I read widely. You know, I have interest in books. I have interest in the plot twist, the imaginary things, so many things that books, you know, lovers of books always look out for. And sometimes I put it in my, like I relate it in my own life or even in my own work. And you should be expecting that, okay, anything you give me, if it is script writing, you should expect a very vast vocabulary. Or if it is something that you want my creativity, you should expect that, okay, I read widely, so I'm exposed to some certain information that, you know, I can invest in my work. If I say, okay, I travel a lot, I love to travel, you should know that, okay, I'm well traveled, I have been to one state or the other, and I've been exposed to their culture, and I've been exposed, maybe there was one time that I had a culture shock, but I got over it. I can easily, you know, narrate it, explain it, and it will even improve in my work. If I say I like one thing or the other, you know there's an effect in it. But if you ask me and I'm like, what are my hobbies, Seth? Do I even know? There are people that have hobbies, but they don't know those are hobbies. There are people that you ask them, they will say watching TV is their hobby. I don't think watching TV is a hobby, because as research will say it, that watching TV doesn't really stimulate you. So it's not like it stimulates your brain. It puts your body and mind off at that period, and it doesn't stimulate. So it's not really something that, but some people argue it out that that's an hobby. Even listening to music, I think is a hobby.
With watching movies too. Some people would look at it as hobbies.
I don't know how they relate with watching TV, watching movies, but I would like to say listening to music is a hobby too, because that's the time you know, music has a way of relaxing you, and anything you do out of relaxation is a hobby, or your leisure period, you know. So it has a great influence in our lives, and I want to see how we can discuss it even deep and see how this can affect us even as our character, even our lives, you know, because character has to do with your entirety, has to do with everything, and it's your life entirely. If we are deliberate with picking some hobbies, I think they will have positive changes in our life, and when we are wrong with it, it will have negative. It's more like, okay, seeing a bricklayer going to work day after day, you know, get some finances, get his resources, get money to feed his family, and his hobby is gambling. Do you know how destructive that hobby is to him? Because no matter what you get, you know, let's say they are paid per day or per hour whatsoever, and see the hard labor he's into, that at the end of the day you go and gamble it by playing draft. I see the type of people that play draft, especially in communities, all these communities that we call Angwa. You will see them, you know that, okay, these people are the ones involved in manual jobs. Maybe they come back, go and shower briefly, then come and start playing draft. And before you know, monies are involved, and they are gambling away their resources, gambling away their finances that they don't even have savings in. You can't see a very wealthy man, you know, except he's doing it without any fun, or because he has it. But coming down to start, I don't think they are deliberate in choosing their hobbies.
I know one thing about hobbies, just like we said, it actually states your character. Because let's still use that gambling that you mentioned here. Even though the person or the people involved in gambling are really not really, will I say, looking at their resources, but they are not worried about the resources. What they are concerned as of that time is like what they will get out of it. And it will tell in their character. Why? Because you see that these are people that want to win by all costs. It will tell in their character that this person doesn't want to lose, even though it's just a hobby to them. But it tells a lot about the kind of person or the kind of people they are. Because if you look at people who love playing draft or people who love soccer, you know, these are people who are born winners. Whatever it will take them, they just want to win by all costs. So even if they will lose their resources or lose their money at the end of the day, they don't care. I know one beautiful thing about our hobbies is kind of help us to self-identity. You tend to discover yourself towards while practicing or while your hobbies is going on, because you tend to discover, okay, I'm this kind of a person. If your hobbies is reading, you are discovering who you are. And it will actually tell you your character at the end of the day.
Yes.
Because it's kind of like self-discovery
and
for
Stella,
you.
do you know, if you read widely, there is how it will have effect even in your spoken language and written language. There is no how that you won't have a vast vocabulary in English. That's if you read English books. There is no how that it will have, you won't expand your vocabulary, because you don't just read and go. No, you pick, you know, even new words, you try to check it whatsoever, and you know, it has a way of influencing even your speech, even your written essays, vocabulary, and what have you. And even the ones that you mentioned, sport, you know, you're involved in sports and you like to play soccer, you will keep fit, you know, and it has effect in your mind, your mental makeup, in your mind, your body, and your soul, how you be relaxed, how you be, you know. I saw something recently. This is just jokes aside, like it's just on a lighter note. I saw a picture of our president, our dearly beloved president, Muhammadu Buhari. It's more like biodata. It was written, name, president, name Muhammadu Buhari, age 65 years old, occupation they wrote model, what was it, so many things. Then they wrote hobby, then they said president. Imagine that kind of thing, that when you I wonder why you're not laughing, even though it's so funny. Yesterday I said I wanted to die. I laughed, I was like, oh God, no, this is my president I'm laughing at. But I had to bring it on the show today because we are talking hobbies. If you do something more than how you do your work, this is not in relation to what I saw as in his picture. I'm just saying, I just brought that to laugh. But now I'm talking seriously. Stop laughing. If you do something, if you do your hobby, you know, more than your own job, you know one will definitely
overshadow
the other, and you might be mistaken. Your work, might be mistaken to something else. I've seen people where they invest so much in sports, so much in that you think, okay, that's their field. I know somebody that is always riding bicycles, always hiking, always going for one sport or the other. Even when people are at work, he's always doing that. So I used to think he's an athlete, like that's his interest or that's the job that he's into. Till the day I found out that he had a job and those were just hobbies. And I was like, really? How can your hobby, overshadow your work? I think hobby should be something you do at your leisure or something you do fairly regularly, as said. Even though you said sometimes, you earn from your hobby. But when you start earning, I think that's more like a passion now. You've turned your hobby to a passion that you start, gaining money from it.
Yeah, and that's why, just like the guy you spoke about that love hiking, he's discovering himself. Just as I said, hobbies are a way of us discovering who we are. Especially when you meet
discover yourself at the expense of your own job.
Well, to him, it's of more, it's a top priority to him to make sure that he's involved in all those athletic things. So his job is
his hobby now.
Well, because if you should meet a person like this and you have to ask him honestly to tell you which he would choose between the two, he might actually go for his hobby. So, you'll be left with, why don't you then look for a way to turn this your hobby to something that you can earn from, since your hobby is actually, you're passionate about, it's your passion. Why don't you turn it into that? And you see, our hobbies also have a way of connecting us to people. Because somehow, when you meet other people that are of like mind like you become like looking at bookworms, those that love reading. You are being connected to other people too, even though it's a hobby. But you tend to connect, and gradually, before you realize it, your characters will begin to reflect on each other. Because you tend to look at, okay, I'm always relating with Joyce. How is her character reflecting on me? Are we going to move together? Because except we agree, we cannot work together. So before you realize it, our hobby will now tend to, bring us together towards how our character blend. Because if our character don't blend, gradually, even though we're having the same hobbies, we tend not to be working together. So I think we really have to know how to, manage our hobbies with our personality at the end of the day.
Well, character traits are often shown with descriptive adjectives like patient, unfaithful, jealous, caring, straightforward, like the one you said is your own. Straightforward, honest. There is honesty, reliability, competent, kind, compassionate, capable of taking the blame, like you don't push the blame to others, or ability to persevere, modest and humble, and able to control anger. Those are some, character traits that people can exhibit. And when you have it, someone that is patient, you can easily know that, okay, if he's picking a hobby, it would be a hobby that someone that is impatient cannot do. It's easy for you to identify that. It's more like playing the game Monopoly. You know that that game needs people that are fast thinkers, people that are business minded, like entrepreneurs, because I always say that game is for business people, because Monopoly involves buying, selling, or acquiring houses or properties and the rest. You can't just play it if you're not patient. You can't just play it if you don't think like a business person. You cannot play that game. You just waste your time at the end of the day. Or it's like playing chess. For you to play chess, you have to be a smart thinker, very smart, and you have to be very logical, and you have to be very fast,
calculative.
You have to calculate. You even have to calculate on behalf of your opponent,
of course,
so that you'll be able to beat. It's not just about going with the pawns or securing your queen or taking your king and whatsoever. No, it's about properly sitting, calculating, being logical, and being a step ahead of your opponent. If you are not a fast thinker, you can't play that game. Then these are hobbies, people's hobbies, and I'm bringing them into characters now. There are people that play different things. Let's say even the Ludo that you play, you know, you don't, I used to see it like it's a game for crafty people that at the end of the day you have to cheat your way.
Yeah, you have to be smart.
You have to be crafty. It's not even being smart. You have to be crafty. You have to be a cheat. I'm sorry that for someone that is watching that, he's a Ludo, you know, lover. I just always feel that game is for people that cheat and people that are very wicked. Because when you are
trying to talk about the what?
That's when you are trying to, you know, that's the time they'll say pick 2 or general market. Like, you will be wondering, this person, if they leave me in the same room, he will suffocate me. You know, all this is, but these are character traits that even show in your hobbies. They show in what you do, what you love to play. We have games of golf, and most easily they are related to the rich and maybe the people in power, you know, because of how it's played. And I always wonder why, you know, there's so much strength or activities involved. You just play, then one person will be running, you know. Somebody that is not even playing the game is the one running to go and get the ball, or then if you have to go, then you take the bike or whatsoever, that they are a small car, you enter and go. It's for the rich. You just stay.
Because you don't stress yourself.
It relaxes them. Like, you don't stress yourself to their money is intact. You don't run and your money will fall off. It's not like football or any other thing, you know. So we have games that always, or hobbies that are always related to, attached to different classes of people. And it's just that I'm bringing class into this discussion because it's very important. If you check the classes of people, you know, do you know that a bricklayer can tell you what's golf about and whatsoever, but there's a same bricklayer who is widely he has an open mind, or he's smart enough, you know, and maybe he's just doing that job for to get earnings, you know, to have a better life. And he might have a degree and he's best in golf, like that's his sport and everything. And I've even seen cases where you see people. There was a time that a child from the slum of Lagos came out and he was the best in chess.
Yes.
I don't know if you saw that.
I have.
He even represented Nigeria in other countries. You know, I'd be wondering, wow, this child must be smart. But it was the exposure he had, you know, at that particular time. And maybe someone groomed him, someone started teaching him about it, and he became something good in it. And we have to be deliberate in choosing our hobbies. If you look at the generation now, most of these young boys, check what their hobbies are. Their hobbies are mostly clubbing, going to strip clubs, exposing themselves to dangerous things that they don't know even have effect on their character. When you go there, you're exposed to so many things that you'll be wondering, it's like going to strip clubs or going to the club, you know, nightclub. They are seeing other people buying bottles, you know, spraying some amount of money, you know, then you are intimidated. Maybe you are even done with school, you've stayed at home for so long, there is no work, but you are seeing how they are spending money in the club, and you're wondering if this person can buy this bottle, can buy this table, can buy, you know, and he has maybe women around him that are stripping and he's spraying money. What is it that he's doing differently that I'm not doing? And before you know, you start seeing how you can be in the occultic, or how you can, you know, that's why we have this, what is it called? The trend of ritual killings, the trend of Yahoo Plus, the trend of, because people want to be like people that they don't even know how they make their own money. And it influences our character, because from being the godly person, or from being whatsoever that you've always been, now you are a killer, or now you are putting your hands, you know, in blood money, or now you are even selling your morals, selling your soul to something just to get money at the end of the day. And it's so wrong.
Very wrong, you know, because gradually it has really become your character, it has really become your personality. If people want to describe you, that's the best way to describe you. Remember that boy, or remember that girl that is always, that's the best way people tend to describe you, because even though you felt it was a hobby going there just to catch fun, but already you are spending so much time. You're already spending so much time with people. You're supposed to discover yourself, but you're discovering yourself in the wrong way because you've been exposed to the wrong set of people. I know one beautiful thing about character is only time that can tell people's true character. If your character has not been put to test, you cannot come out and say, this is who I am at the end of the day. When you are broke, how do you behave? That's when we know your true character. And it's even more when nobody's there with you, because hobbies, mostly you connect with people. People tend to see. But your character, you don't mostly depend on people. It's based on what you have developed over the years and what has become of you at the end of the day. You don't just wake up in the morning and you become truthful, but how did you develop that character of being a truthful person at the end of the day? Did you mingle with people who are very honest and straightforward, people who are truthful no matter what it takes, even if you're going to be killed? Are those the kind of people you kept as your company? Because over the time, it will actually tell in your character. That's why we hear the Bible even say that bad company corrupts good character.
Yes.
When you keep yourself around people who are of noble character, definitely you will come out to be noble. If you keep yourself or you're always in the midst of people that are corrupt, their minds, they never think of anything straight. Consciously or unconsciously, that is how you end up operating. Nothing motivates you to become better except you get to be disciplined to know that I'm tired of being in this set of people, or I just want to make I want to make money through a noble cause, rather than depending on those friends that introduce you to Yahoo Plus and all that quick money. That's not a true character. So we really need to learn that you can actually pick hobbies. It's easy for you to just pick a hobby because it's easy. But character is not easy. If you truly want to have a very noble and a good character, it takes hard work. And that's why I was relating to the fact that you desire it. You cannot separate your character from desires, because most time what you desire will turn out to be your character at the end of the day. You desire to be a godly person, you will always work towards having a godly character at the end of the day. If you desire to be a very terrible person, it's people who are terrible that will be inspiration to you at the end of the day. So we really have to be very careful in what we pick to be our hobbies, and at the end of the day, what develop at the end of the day to be our character.
It's true. I'd like to take some few comments on Facebook before we continue. And we have Musa Halifa. God bless Ekwa. God bless you too, Musa. And we have Anthony Dambaya Yero. Okay, I pray I got that correctly. He says, good morning. Your program is so attractive. Good morning to you too, and thank you for watching. Your comments are important to us. We are talking character and hobbies on the show today, and we want to see how one entity influences the other, and if they are separate entity and they don't influence. But within the discussion, so far so good. We've seen how our hobbies, can influence, even character can influence in how you pick your hobby, or even how a hobby, can influence a character of a person, especially what you are exposed to. And it's important to mention that character in relation to hobbies, hobbies significantly express and reveal our inner personality, and by default, our character. Is simple. That means definitely there are interferences or influences. Having a hobby can help your social life and create a bond with others. See, this is important in what we are talking about now. Whether you join a club, play in a league, or just give others with the fruits of your labor, a hobby is a great way to meet and get closer to people who have the same interests as you do. It increases your confidence and self-esteem. Is what I mentioned earlier, joining a book club, because you're a reader and you want to meet other readers. You want to read, you want to see how their minds work. Reading is about the mind, and you want to see how their minds work. You want to see how curious they are. You want to relate with them on that intellectual level. Or you joining a nightclub, being even a member in the nightclub, and you want to see how things are done because you love to chill and everything. You love the fast life or easy life, whatsoever it is that people go to club to do and all. Then you choose different things based on your interest, based on what you desire, just like you said, and I am standing with you on that. If what I read here, having a hobby can help your social life and create bond with others, you have to be deliberate in connecting with others. And I think I always prefer the introverts because they are critical. before they even influence themselves or before they even get closer to people, they must have overthink, overdo, like there are processes before they get to attach themselves to someone or a new person. Even if it is in a group of people, they are deliberate in picking who they want to be friends with or who they want to listen to, because they know that no matter what, any hobby they get themselves into or any interest they get themselves into will have an effect in their lives, and they are very jealous with their environment, very jealous with their space. But you see, an extrovert is somebody that he's just life of the party, he's
Just
this,
open,
he's hype,
just...
he's that. And even though there are some that no matter how they are that way, you know, they guard their hearts, they guard whatever it is they do, but you see them everywhere. You are here, you are there. If there's anything new in town, we are the one bringing it up. If there's anything that is in vogue, you know, they are the ones that are coming with it. But we have to be deliberate, because our characters are very important, and whatsoever we try to do as an interest, you know, will definitely affect us. You won't say that all these your hobbies that you're involved with, you just do them at the side that they don't have any effect in you. They do, definitely. Wait, let's say, for example, I think I used to have hobbies. I don't know if I have them now. I know one of my hobby back then was car racing, like back then in Abuja and everything. Like, I would like to, I love the speed, Need for Speed, the movies I watch were always Need for, all those car racing kind of, you know, even if I'm not involved, even if I don't go out to do them sometimes because of maybe school and whatsoever, I love to hear about them. Like, they intrigue me. When you're gisting me, you see the adrenaline, you know, pumping. Then I think I love to listen to music too. Calms me down. I like to hear wordings, and I'll start thinking, how did this person put it together? Like, this person is deep. Oh, wow, you know, that's an interest. Then I think, I don't know if I used to love to travel though. Maybe because I didn't have any choice. We were always traveling. But I loved so many things, and that has influenced me. I love things that are fast. When I'm on a project, I want the speed. I want, you know, consistency. I want to deliver at that particular time. Then I can be open. Like, okay, you talked about straightforwardness. I can be open that I can tell you something how it is. You understand? Even though I have some consideration, but I will tell you how it is. I'll consider some things. Like, those are things that make up my character. You know, even though, yes, I said, I think on the show I talked about anger, where I had to overcome it and everything. Then another important one was what I mentioned yesterday on the topic. What was the topic? Where I said a person's character cannot, maybe due to poverty, you know, he will hide his character, hide those weak points. Later in life, when he gets the money, that's the time he will start thinking it's not you that he wants to marry.
Decisions will change.
Decisions and
decisions.
Decisions and desire.
Yeah.
Where you remember what I talked about. You understand? At this point, that is the level he is. Definitely, there are some people that they are in that situation, and they have some certain type of character in that situation, because that's the situation. Their situation is what is influencing them to be humble. Let me use poverty now. Their situation influences them to be humble. They know they don't have it, so they have to, you know, yes boss, or they do the yes sirs, or they are so humble even to family, even to wives and everything. But later, when they start getting the finances, then that's the time they know, no, this is not me. Like, I'm not a humble person. I don't like this. I am far better than this. Even the wife that I married her during my poverty stage. I don't want to go ahead with this marriage. You know, the things I used to do before, you see that no, you start forsaking it. You start mingling with the rich and mighty, because you feel, okay, you are in that capacity now as a rich and mighty. Don't you see that sometimes when you have money, your taste even change? Like, you know, you are always used to eating moi moi in the afternoon, but let that money enter your account, let it hit. That's the time you start thinking of rice and salad. On a normal day, you don't even think of it. You know, maybe normally you take gari and moi moi in the afternoon, and you only eat once so that when you get home, you know you can drink your pap and sleep. But when you get that alert, Sele, that's the time you start thinking, where's that new place in Joseph? Where's the location? You start asking around because, you know, level has changed and you need a different type of hobby.
Of course.
Before you know, you start thinking that way because definitely how things like this influence us. Things like that influence our characters. They even influence our hobbies, what we choose, you know, to invest in as an interest. Before you know, even, okay, where you used to shop before, now you've been promoted at work and there are definitions to your salary. Seller, you will forsake that bend down. You will forsake it. Before you know, you are already asking maybe the people that you used to admire before as the rich and mighty, are asking them, where do you shop? You know, and describe it, or you are thinking of changing your wardrobe. They affect us, and sometimes they don't even know that they affect us, but they do. But all these things I mentioned are not bad, but we have to be deliberate in choosing what our interests are.
You know, our characters have consequences, whether they're negative or they're positive. They definitely have consequences, and that's why I said you cannot come out openly and tell us this is my character if that character has not been put to test. Let us step on your toe first and see how you react. Then we'll know if truly you're a patient person as you told us you were.
But you know, you can't push a patient person to the
No, I'm not talking about, no, I'm not talking about being pushing someone. There's a difference between when you've been tolerant enough, you keep tolerating people, and then they push you. Definitely, you react. Because I remember when we looked at some of our reaction and our actions, I think on a topic like that. Definitely, when you keep doing it, there'll be a reaction at the end of the day. But I'm talking about coming out to say, this is my character. If that character has not been tested, you know, someone once said that if you want to know the true character of someone, don't observe, don't do anything, just let the person be. Then that is when you truly pick the true character of someone, whether it's as a hobby or it's just as something that over the time you've developed. Because I say our character, it takes time, you develop it. You want to be patient, you keep building on your patience little by little. If they step on your toe, you react. The next time, what are you planning to do to be more patient? Not to shout at people or not to be easily angered, you know. These are things you have to do. So if that character of yours has not been tested, just like we were talking about, the person is humble because he doesn't have money. We have given you the money. That is a test we are putting you on. And let us see whether...
That's the person say, you know, I don't wear anything if it is not suit.
Get, on a scale of 1 to 10, we'll now know where your patience, your honesty, your everything that you said, it's your character, what will be your personality at the end of the day. It will show. That's when they will tell you, don't know if you know that who I am, the real me.
Do you know who I am?
Can you see? You're trying to tell that the character we're seeing now, that's not who you are. You're just putting on a face. So we need to know that our characters have consequences at the end of the day. And that's why we hear people say stuff like, that intelligence can take you places, but character determines how long you stay in that place. There. What do you do? Because we know of people that have smelly character that you don't even want to stay around them.
Very true.
It's either they are very annoying, they are very lazy, or they're just some character that you just can't stand.
There are people that even have the non-verbal statement type of character. No matter what you do, it's their face that is talking. You'll be wondering, what's wrong with this person? How can I help this person? You know, even though that's aside though, I want us to go into how hobbies influence our personality. You know, personality is a character in a way, but this is more like the attribute, the build up, like what you put forth, you know, the person that you are. Research shows that people with hobbies are less likely to suffer from stress, low mood, and even depression. Activities that get you out and about can make you feel happier and more relaxed. Now, you know there are people that don't have hobbies, right? Do you agree to that?
Of course I do.
It's always maybe, let's say walk. If it is walk, it's always walk. Or if it is one thing or the other, it's always that thing. Like they don't even know what their interests are. They don't even know any social activity. They don't even know how to relax at the end of the day. And according to survey and according to research and according to our scientists, you know, they know a lot, that if you are that kind of person, you have some chances or some risks of depression, you know, mood swings, and even you suffer from stress because you don't know how to relax, you don't know how to chill out, you don't know how to engage with even in a social gathering or whatsoever. Then how does hobby help a man to choose the path of his life or mold his character? This is very important. I know it will take us even to the end of the discussion, but I want us to focus on this. Hobbies refocus your mind on something getting a short break from work and doing something you are passionate about can rejuvenate your mind and help prepare. Now, hobbies are very important even in building characters, because like we've said from the beginning of the discussion, there's a way that your hobby can influence you as a person. And I chose the example of, you know, being a reader, which is a very good hobby. When you read, you invest in reading, you invest in books. There's how it even help your vocabulary. There's how it will even help with you being passionate. There's how it will even help with you in so many things. I used to have a friend in school who loves to watch all these fantasy type of movies. Like those were her hobbies. After school, we'll get home, she would just turn on the TV and start watching all these, you know, love stories, how this one and the father refused for you to marry this woman because she's from this. Then the man will struggle, the challenges, you know, he said, no, if this is not you, you know, I will not marry. She started having that as a fantasy. If a man comes into her life, she will start, this how she saw
picture him from that.
That no matter what, you know, that this man will struggle to love me. One of our relationship crashed because of that expectation. This man came. It's not like he said, okay, I want to marry you now. No, they started seeing each other. Definitely, you know, that's the desire of every one of us. They started seeing each other, but she started having imaginary scenarios in her head where she was always thinking, because definitely he was from a very wealthy home and they didn't want him to marry outside his clan, you know, wherever he was, they didn't want him to marry. But she was always insisting that no, that is possible, it is very possible, but don't have fantasy. Like we knew that she was speaking it from movies, we knew that she was speaking it from this Negi and the rest. don't have those fantasies, but she was applying it. You know how the man would just fly and come and carry her and they would do this. How much she used to tell us, and Joyce, you don't know how my
telenovela have taken over.
Until she married a different man. Like
totally different.
There is how possibilities, how you can manifest something and it will happen. But at least when you start putting your fantasy in it, because her hobby, I would definitely say, is fantasies. Like she loves watching fantasies. She was already applying it to her life. See how it affected her, right? Then investing so much on the wrong hobby is also very bad. Like I talked about, people doing the menial job. Then at the end of the day, their leisure or their hobby is gambling. You know, it will help in any way. If you are doing a menial job and you decide, okay, your leisure will be maybe your hobby, you know, will be after you are done with this, you will engage in one activity that will help you to be productive, or reading classes, or even evening classes, or one thing or the other. Even if it is a swimming class or gym or whatsoever, you know, definitely will help. Okay, just like doing a menial job, maybe a laborer at a site, then at the end of the day you are engaging in gymming or being a gym instructor. Don't you think that's like an advantage? Don't you think that's positive?
Well, it's possible, but I'm trying to look at it from this point of view. Since we are looking at hobby as being something for pleasure, and research said if you don't have a hobby, you go to depression. Possibly mingling with people makes the person feel happy, because it's meant to boost your mental health.
Yes, mingling with people, but not gambling with people.
Well, that's why I said sometimes, just like you rightly stated, it's important that we look at what our hobbies are seriously, in a way that it doesn't even affect our character. Because imagine that person being involved in gambling, you have a family, you become irresponsible, and that is a character already.
Someone said Jesus sat with sinners. He did not sin with sinners. They are two different things. You can mingle with them, but you guard your heart in it. You can mingle, you know that this thing is terrible. When you start, before you get into gambling, you must have been exposed to that knowledge, or you must be exposed to the activity that pricked your interest, you know, and one day you tried, okay, let me try with 200 naira. Before you know, you are bringing more, and maybe it's your friend that say, okay, please escort me to this place, there is a draft or chess game or whatsoever. When you get there, you know, you see that they're dropping money, and you know, anything that has to do with money, there's how it interests you. You always think that you will be a winner, that you will win that money, and when you start doing it, that's the time you know that it's tough, that it's not just easy for you to I think it's wrong, Sela, even though you are thinking
no, I'm not trying to justify that. I'm just trying to say possibly the person does it for fun. But I'm trying to also point out the fact that giving out money now at the end of the day, you are becoming irresponsible. Even if you're not married, you're becoming irresponsible to yourself. You're becoming irresponsible even to the society, because you are going to become a liability to other people as a result of spending much. And each time you become a beggar, gimme. And people get tired of that. So even though it's giving you joy, even though you get pleasure out of it, even though it makes you, you're trying to think how to be a warrior, you want to conquer so many territories. Yeah, it's helping you. But then at the end of the day, at the detriment of your family, or at the detriment of society, at the end of the day, you are losing. If you know you are not losing, fine.
What will you say about our young men of today going to the strip club as a hobby?
Honestly, it's devastating, and it's a sad hobby that nobody's supposed to actually get, because it's affecting your character. Because gradually you're becoming a pervert. Gradually you're becoming irresponsible, because it's already reflecting in the character that you have at the end of the day. Now, nobody's even going to trust you. No mother is going to give her daughter over to you, or as a lady that love going over there, no father or mother wants to welcome such a daughter-in-law into their home. Why? Because you're already having a questionable character that nobody wants to associate with you at the end of the day. So even though it's your hobby, you have to seriously sit down and weigh it. What is this hobby adding to me? Because character is more like a tree. It will bring out fruits at the end of the day. What fruits are you bearing? Are you bearing the fruits of patience, love, kindness, or you are bearing the fruit of selfishness, jealousness, sexual immorality? That is what is coming out of you.
A gambler can never be honest.
Well, you can't be honest. Definitely not, because you are always you are always, will I say, corny. You're always thinking of how to cheat people. Before somebody will turn his eye, you've already changed the moves of certain things. But that's why we have to be very, very careful in choosing certain things as our hobbies, because gradually it's becoming part of us. And we know that one thing about character is that it's about our society and our culture. They mold the character we have at the end of the day. It's not like, say, you just wake up with something, or it's just your personality, or it's just something you love. It's biological. You just inherited it because of your temperament. My mom is quiet, so I'm quiet too. Your character is something you deliberately choose what you want. You work on it. If you are envying, or not, let me use the word envy, if you are desiring to be someone honest and noble, you have to actually watch what your hobbies are, and at the end of the day, how it sinks in, because it will tell on how you behave. And you do not want to be, like, say, associated with people that are of very bad character. You definitely want to have a noble character. So it's very important that we watch our hobbies.
Well, I will take more comments on Facebook. Thank you very much. And we have also from Monica Peter, I love this program. Then Emmanuel Oji Aye, God bless you. I love the education I get here. God bless you too, Emmanuel. And Silas Guani Luca, good morning to you all, and well done to Miss Joyce and Miss Sele. We miss Satodi on the show though. My regards to him. Thank you very much. I've just been trying to see the connection between character and hobby, and I discovered that some characters are derived from, okay, if we can click on the see more, some characters are derived from some hobbies, because hobbies are known to be what one likes doing and finds joy in it. So if you are used to a particular hobby, you may likely possess a character that is related to that particular hobby. Thank you. Thank you very much. And that's what we've been saying on the show. Your hobby definitely has a way of influencing your character. And I even brought up the youth, you know, at strip club, how they are exposed to so many things, you know, they're exposed to so many, not even imagination, like a reality of things they are seeing. And it's definitely influence their character, because they involve themselves in different vices just to get money, to go back to those strip clubs, or they expect some type of sexual characteristics in their relationship because okay, they feel okay, they've seen it, or they expect so many things. They are not even modest, you know, in carrying out some basic activities, or they are not humble enough, you know, to know that okay, there's time and chance for things to be done. But well, that's the discussion on the show today, character and hobby. I know a lot of people did not think that one influences the other, but I believe with this little discussion of ours, someone has picked a point from it, and we are grateful for Silas, Monica, Emmanuel, and so many other people that commented on the show today. Silas, before we go briefly,
well,
your advice now and encouragement to viewers.
Okay, my advice now, which I've said it, the Bible says that what bad company corrupts good character. Watch the company you keep carefully and guard your heart with all diligence, because out of it flows the issues of life.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for watching the show today. We just want to extend our appreciation to the ECWA executive for giving us this platform to bring the message of God, salvation, love, light to the viewers out there. My name is Joyce. I did this with Sele Elisha. Why don't you join us tomorrow for another refreshing package on the show? Thank you for watching, and on behalf of everyone in ECWA Television, we're saying God bless you. Have a great and beautiful day.